Hey guys, what's happening? It's Sean1604 coming at you with my, I believe, fourth update on my Swansea Football Manager save. Last time out, we had got into just after the January transfer window, and I said I would do another update round about sort of April, March time. So I'm at the 2nd of April just now, so I thought I'd give you guys a quick update before we went into the kind of last ditch part of the season. So in my last video, I was saying obviously I didn't know how it was going to end, how we were, because we were looking pretty decent. I think we were sitting about 12 maybe or something like that, around about mid-table, and I wasn't too sure how we were going to be fighting. And I'll go through it now and see how you can see how we've ended up for the past couple of months, and then what we're going to be looking to do in the last couple of months of the season. So the first thing I'll do is I'll finish off, round up the January transfers. I think, as I say, we got to the 5th of January, and I'll show you the rest of the guys that we maybe brought in and we let go. So I'll go through that with you just now. Okay, so this is my first signing of, after we'd finished the last video, was Gel Vossen, or Gele Vossen, Belgian striker. I said in the last video, I think I showed you him, and I was really looking forward to if I could see if I could actually get this player, because he's looking at his stats, he does look as if he's a pretty decent player already. He's only 24, so he's got a couple of good seasons left in him. 17 finishing is my main one. I was looking for a good finisher. To be honest with you, not got the best out of him so far, I don't think. He's only done okay in games. He's not really, I think he's only scored one goal in about 4 or 5 games, so I think it's maybe the way I'm playing, and I'm going to maybe need to try and adjust that to see if we can get more out of him. So this was the first signing, I believe, for about 3 or 4 million, so it wasn't too bad considering the stats. I was quite happy with that. I was looking at other teams as well, and I managed to pick him up, which I was quite happy with. So I'll jump on to my next player. Okay, so I've written this right back called Coke, which is a strange name. I'm assuming he's got a first name that's just not used. But yeah, brought him in for just around over 2 million, 2.6 I think actually, which is what his value is. 25-year-old, pretty good age, getting round about the prime of his career, and pretty decent stats. I'll show you why in a wee second. We needed a right back, but I brought him in. I was looking at a couple of different players, and I decided I needed one with a bit more experience rather than just bringing in a really young right back. I do have a young right back, Robin Budwalder, who I showed you in one of the previous videos, who's going to be sort of the backup. He was on loan, he's now back at the team, so I can use him as a backup in case this guy gets injured. So jump on to my next signing now. Okay, so this is my last signing, more one for the future. Obviously only 17 years old, Andrew Black, who came from Hibs. I believe he was either 3.5 star or 4 star potential, and a couple of different teams were looking at him, including Sunderland. I wasn't actually going to buy him, and then I seen Sunderland stick a bid in for him. I thought, why not? If they're thinking that he's looking quite good as well, I might as well stick a bid in. So I got him for 275k, which is pretty decent for that kind of potential, and he's been stuck in the under 18s team, which is actually looking pretty decent now. I'll jump through the under 18s team for you in a second. You guys probably know, if you've watched my Football Manager save with Celtic, I like getting the unders team to be progressing and make it better and get a lot of good potential in that, so that they can then come through into the senior squad. But this guy's now, he's on loan at Carlisle. He's only 17. If he's getting games at Carlisle, I'm happy with that, because it means he's getting some decent game time, which he wouldn't be getting here obviously. So that was my last in terms of buying. I'll go through my selling ones. Okay, so this was my last in terms of selling. Really, I didn't really sell anyone else. I'll go through and go back onto the history page in a wee second. You'll see the loans that I put out. But Angel Rangel, as you can see, I brought in a right back, but this guy was getting a bit on in age. He's 30 now. His stats were only really petering off or declining, and his stats weren't really that amazing, and he wasn't playing all that well. I sold him for 3.2 million, which is above what his value was, so I was quite happy with that, to be honest. And I'm he was a decent player, but I didn't see him bringing the club forward, so I had to see if we could get rid of him, and Stoke managed to take him, so I was quite happy with that, to be honest. I wasn't really too bothered. So if I jump back onto the history screen, and you guys can see the rest of the loans. So Daniel Satu, who's actually transfer listed, he was one of the players when I got here who went out on loan. He's been put back on loan again, out to Preston. Scott Tannock, Lee Lucas, Josh Sheehan, James Loveridge, Andrew Back, I've already seen, and Chris Wobing. They're all kind of younger players who've all went on loan to various different lower down teams. So that's I'm just getting the players out really and seeing what we can do. Spent total of 26 million, brought in 6.5 million, but I did get a pretty decent transfer budget, to be honest. I've still got 6 million left and still got about 50 or 60k worth of wages left as well to spend, so pretty happy with that. I'm going to see nothing obviously more now because we're outside the transfer window, but I'm going to see about bringing in some attacking mids and possibly another central defender, because a couple of central defenders I have are actually going to be probably going out of contract at the end of the season, so I'm going to need to see if we can bring anyone in. So these are my main obviously signings. I'm quite happy with what I've done so far, building for the future, which I'll go into in a wee second. As I said, I'm just going to pop through now and look at the under 18s team for you guys. Okay, so this is the under 18s team. With anyone, I don't actually know if I showed it when I first joined the team, but pretty much everyone was either 1 or half a star or maybe 2. I think my highest potential was maybe 2.5 star or something. I think the only guy that I can remember that was here actually was this Kyle Klopp, who was the only decent sort of player that was here. He's a 4-star potential striker, so he looks as if he could be pretty decent. He's only 16. I've tied him into a contract now, so he's actually with us. He's not going to be signed by anyone else. No one's going to poach him, and it's the same for a couple of these other guys. I don't know if Luke Llewellyn, Alex Samuel, these guys and a couple of other ones have just recently been brought in. Obviously Ryan Gold and Andrew Black were the 2 signings I made. Dean Burrows and Michael Waters, who have just come in the youth intake, look pretty decent considering 15, both been signed to pre-contracts. One of them actually just signed his main contract. This guy's only 15, but he's already 4.5 star potential for a striker, attacking mid and attacking right, so pretty ridiculous. He should be pretty good in a couple of seasons, I would hope. Michael Waters, as I said, he was another youth intake player, good looking central defender, and I can't get my words out this morning, defending right, and again 4.5 star potential, and so that's the first time I've ever actually got anyone good in on the youth intake, to be perfectly honest with you. I've never actually got anyone in apart from maybe half decent players, but these guys look as if they could be pretty good, so I'm really happy with that, and we'll see how they develop going forward. Next I'm going to quickly run through is obviously the fixtures for you guys, and then I'll go through and show you where we're standing in the league. Okay, so this was my first fixture after the last time we spoke to you guys. I don't believe I'd played this. I think it was the same day that we were going to be playing the Leeds game, and I was hoping I was going to do well, but I ended up drawing 1 each, so I had to end up doing a replay. We scored earlier on, but Leeds were actually probably the better team overall. They were at Ellen Road and they are a decent team, so you'd expect them to do well, but I was really hoping I would win this game, but unfortunately they took me to a replay, which we'll come on in a second. You can see how we managed to go through in the replay. Next up was a 1-0 defeat at home to Liverpool. If you have a look at the stats though, we actually had more of the game, and the finishing's really letting us down. You would expect them to have more of the game because they did have Steven Gerrard sent off pretty early on, who scored a penalty, so a bit of an up and down day for him. But we should have really done well, to be honest, and I think we should at least got a draw out of this considering they were down to 10 men for such a long time in the game, and we unfortunately couldn't pull through and get a result, which I was a bit disappointed with. Next up was a 3-0 away defeat to Newcastle. I think they seem to be one of my bogey teams. I can't really, I've tried a couple of different strategies against them now, and I really can't pick up something that's any decent against them, to be perfectly honest. So nothing much to say here. They were far the better team, and they deserve to win it on the day. I'm not really going to go through this one too much. So this was the replay with Leeds. Bit close for comfort. Overall, as you can probably see looking at the match stats there, they probably were the better team. We managed to hang on and take it to a penalty shootout, and I've not really won that many penalty shootouts in Football Manager because it is really a toss-up, but we managed to pull through 5-4. Routledge missed his penalty, but Brown and Gary Monk, who used to actually play for myself, who got sold at the beginning of the season, actually missed the penalty, which took us through, so that was quite interesting. So that took us through into the next round, the 4th round of the FA Cup, which was decent. So this was a disappointing home loss to Norwich. This is teams that we should really be either picking up at least a point or beating at home, definitely. But they did. I think they beat us early on in the season as well, or maybe drew against them actually, maybe 0-0 I think, away from home. But we actually lost this game, which I was pretty disappointed with. It was sort of an even game, but they scored 2 early goals, and I really couldn't pull back from that. I say I'm trying out a couple of different strategies to see what suits the team, so try to find something that works, to be perfectly honest with you at this point in the season I was trying that, so and I'm still tinkering with it even where we are now. So this was the next game. This was quickly followed by a couple of days later, I think less than probably 3 or 4 days later, we had the 4th round game against Charlton, which was a decent draw. We managed to pick up 2-0 home win against Charlton. It was a pretty decent game, nothing over the odds with it. I would expect to beat Charlton with the team we have, and Miku finally picked up a goal and Rory Donnelly picked up one in the 94th minute, so 2-0 probably flattered us, to be perfectly honest with you. It was much probably closer than that, but again, happy to go through to the next round. And this was our first points in a while in the Premier League, which I was a bit disappointed with, but it was only a draw against Reading at home. Again, this is a team we should be beating at home, especially at home, and we did have more of the game, more of the shots. They had more on target, but we had more of the game overall with possession and stuff, and we just couldn't pick up goals. We're really, really struggling with finishing at the moment. That's why I tried to bring in these other Vossen to try and maybe pick up some extra goals, but I think he's struggling to settle into the team at the moment, so we'll need to see how he develops. But this was a sort of disappointment, but at least we got a point out of it, which was not so bad. At least we didn't lose the game. And we followed that up with a half decent away draw with Southampton. Again, one of the teams we should be either drawing with or beating with. Doesn't make sense. Either drawing or beating, because they are one of the teams that are, I think they're not too far up in the league, and we should be trying to pick up points against them. So it was a decent. I was happy with that. We had probably a little bit more of the game in terms of shots, and again we just couldn't finish. But 1-1. I'm not too bothered about that. It was a half decent result. So this was a poor result against Wigan, one of the teams that we are going to be probably fighting with to pick up, depending on what places we're going for. So this is one of the teams we're going to be, competing with at that end of the league. We should really be beating them or drawing with them, I would say. And we did have nothing really in the game for us. We were really struggling in terms of possession and shots, and probably could have beat us more, to be perfectly honest with you. So 1-0 probably flattered us, if anything like that. So can't really say much more about that game. So this was a good result in the 5th round. We'd drawn not too bad teams, considering we hadn't really picked up anyone big apart from maybe Leeds. So we drew Hull, managed to win 3-1 at home. We went 2-0 up really early on, picked up 2 early goals. They dropped one back, and then we scored a really strange own goal. So they had a decent amount of shots if you have a look at the stats though, and they did have quite a lot of the game. So again, I think 3-1 probably flattered us a wee bit. But we went through, which I was happy with, to the 6th round. So yeah, I think I've found my, I guess you would call it, anti-bogey team. If anything, I'm maybe a bogey team for them, because we did beat them, I think 1-0 away from home early on in the season, one of the first games that we played. So I was really happy with that early on in the season, but managed to win 2-0 at home, which didn't really flatter us, to be honest. We played the better game. We played really, really well, and they did obviously have more possession, which you would expect considering the team that they are, but overall I think we really played very, very, very well, and all of our players apart from the goalkeeper had a over 7 rating from what I can see there. So really did play a very good game, which I was happy with, and it was our first win for quite a long time in the league as well. So and we did, you can see there, Ashley Williams got 2 bookings and got sent off in the 83rd minute, so hanging on a wee bit at the end, but we managed to do that, so I was really happy with that result. So kind of disappointing result here, 3-1 away from home to West Brom. Again, one of the teams that are down lower in the league, and we should really be picking up points against, to be perfectly honest. We did have a decent game against them, we had a lot of shots and quite a few on target, we just couldn't convert them, and they had 4 shots on target and scored 3 of them. So they had a really early goal, and we scored, and we picked up a goal, but I think we scored and then they scored the same minute or something from what I can see. I think if I remember right, we scored and then they scored, so kind of put us behind a wee bit, and then they picked up a goal later on. So as I say, pretty disappointing result against West Brom there. So this was the FA Cup 6th round, and unfortunately we did draw West Ham, which was one of the bigger teams we could have got. There was still a couple of smaller teams left, but we managed to pick up against West Ham, and we lost 2-1. So they scored 2 early goals. We did get one back from Ki Sung Young, but we'd never really got back into the game. We never looked like scoring any other goals, to be perfectly honest. They were the better team on the day, which again is not too good considering they are one of the lower down teams in the league. and we were struggling. To be fair, we were away from home, but I would still expect better from the players. So try to pick it up obviously for next season. But sixth round isn't too bad considering the season we've had. Sixth round is actually pretty decent, so I'm not too bothered about that. We've done okay in the Carling Cup, we've done okay in the FA Cup, so it's not so bad. I don't know what it is. It seems to be the bigger teams which we do better against. As you've seen probably from what we've went through, a lot of the lower down teams in the league we've sort of struggled against, and then we come up against Man City at home and we managed to draw one each, and we did deserve it. Although they had more possession, we restricted them to 5 shots overall in the full game, so we defended really, really well. And they had their own goal in the first minute from Michael Vorm. I think it was maybe a hit the post and hit the keeper or something along those lines, and that's how they got their goal. And Nathan Dyer picked up one in the 20th minute. So we did hold on a wee bit. They had more possession again. You would expect that, but we did pretty decent considering how good a team that they actually are. And this was my most recent game that I played a couple of days ago against Arsenal. We lost 2-0 at the Emirates. Again, I'm not going to say too much about that. You would expect that. They're a really good team. One of the higher up teams in the league. So I wasn't really that bothered about losing that. We played okay overall, but we wouldn't really expect to do that much. We tried to do as what we did against Chelsea, but Arsenal just ran rings around us, to be honest, in the game. So it took them to the 73rd and 88th minute to score, to be fair, so we did hold on, but overall obviously they deserve to win it. So we'll jump in now and quickly show you guys the league. Okay, so we are sitting 15th in the league. We are 5 points off relegation, so a lot closer than I would want it to be. But if you have a look there, we are if you look up to West Brom, they are only 9 points ahead of us, and they're in 10th. So the league from 10th down the way is very, very close. When you go to Newcastle and Aston Villa upwards, yes, they are a little bit out there, but look at it right there. We're only one win away from jumping up to sort of 13th. If we beat West Ham or Wigan, we would be up there. So we're doing okay. QPR, Sunderland and Reading look as if especially Sunderland and Reading look as if they're down. QPR are kind of hanging on with us, but they've not really won a game for a while. They've been sitting on 26 points like we have. They round about that for a while. So we're doing okay. But I thought at the beginning of the season I was going to be fighting for sort of mid-table, but it really doesn't appear that that's what it's going to be. So we're going to be fighting probably with relegation, which was my mandate at the beginning of the season, to be perfectly honest with you. And I came in as a professional, not automatic or whatever. So I was only this was my first job as a professional coach. So the team obviously is still struggling with getting used to me. So hopefully, as maybe next season, if we manage to, fingers crossed, stay in the league, then we can build on and push on. As you can see, I've built getting better players and changing the squad around and getting young players in and everything like that. So I'm trying to build for the future. So I'm not too sure if there's much else we need to go over in this episode. I think that's pretty much it. I will be obviously coming back at the end of the season with an update after I've played the last game of the season, and then that'll be the last update for this season. So hope you guys are enjoying it so far. If you are, obviously please leave a like and a comment. It's always appreciated, and obviously subscribe if you haven't, and we'll get this video up some point today. And I hope you guys have a good day. I'll catch you later. Bye bye.